up-close video. Today's one is an interactive card die set from Tonic, and it is called the Peekaboo Time to Shine die set, and it creates a really cool peekaboo mechanism where the two leaves move apart and the flower pops up in the middle. There are multiple ways of doing this as well. You don't have to make it with a flower, and I'm sure there are different ways of exchanging out the pieces that are the leaves and like making them a different shape as well. I haven't completely experimented like all of that kind of stuff with it yet, but I've got 3 samples to show you, and then I've got 2 on my phone to show you as well, because I just have a photo of them. I forgot to film this like little snippet bit showing you those 2, and I haven't got them anymore, so but I will show you the photo of them on my phone. So you might be looking at this die set and thinking, what on earth, like how on earth does that go together? But this is what it is supposed to create. So you need 4 little brads, and then you get this mechanism that goes like this. So you have a little pull tab at the bottom, and then if you pull it down, the leaves close, and if you push it up, they open. And there's lots of different things you can do with this centerpiece. You can just use the flower. This is the sort of daisy-like flower, and then obviously if that was stuck on, it would move down and move up as the leaves open. There is also a lotus sort of looking flower as well that you can put on there. On one of the cards I'll show you in my photos, I actually did a cluster of 3 of these flowers behind it as well. And on one of the other samples that I'll show you in person, I actually chopped this piece off and die cut a heart out of there and made it a heart shaker, so that when the 2 leaves opened, you were left with a heart aperture that was actually a shaker card as well. There is also, I don't have the actual packaging, but I have seen a little diagram that Tonic have done of how this goes together. So I'm presuming that they will print that on the inside of the packaging somewhere. But it is really simple once you know how it goes together. And so basically, you have this piece, which is your pull tab. The circular element is where your flower or whatever you're putting as your peekaboo piece that goes up and down inside, that's where that is stuck. And then this piece is what weaves through the 2 slits that are created in your back portion, and you just literally like weave it through underneath and back out again. And then the holes here, and you also have 2 holes on the main panel, is where you put your brads. So you have your 2 leaves, and you can see there, one of the holes from the leaves goes into this piece, and the other hole from the leaf goes into the back of the card all the way through the panel, and that's how you get that mechanism. But I'm pretty certain that they will have put the instructions inside the packet or on the back of the packaging to make it really easy for you to know how that goes together. But it's a really fun design of a card. I reckon any of your like stamps that you have as well, you could do some really cool like fun thing where maybe like a little character pops out from behind the leaves. Or I was trying to think of how to do this, because you know Tonic brought out those buildable dies ages ago. They had an owl, but I don't have the owl. But I was thinking, if you somehow attach the owl's head to this little piece here and had the owl's head this way, and then maybe had the body coming out from underneath, and these could be the owl's wings. But I didn't have the die set to give that a go and see if it would work, but I think it would work really well, and it would give a really cool interactive card that would be great for a child. On one of the cards that I'll show you in my photos, I did actually use the mechanism up this way, and I did it so it's kind of like a viney canopy up here, and then a flower sort of pops out, sort of like you know, like a tropically rainforest or something where the flowers might sort of grow upside down. But just to show you that you can use it this way up, or you can use it the right way up, or you can even use it sideways. If you had some kind of element that you wanted to pop out sideways, I think that would work really nicely as well. It doesn't get caught very often, but it's just because I'm showing it to you, obviously, it keeps getting caught. But it is a really nice smooth mechanism. And you see, as you're looking at that, doesn't it remind you of like a little bird flapping their wings, which is why I thought of the owl, but I just didn't have the die set to give that idea a go. But that is the basic mechanism of it. And so this is the the die set. And only on one of my cards I've actually used the proper piece that is supposed to hide the mechanism, and that's one of the ones in the photograph, because you can kind of make your own little piece that hides it as well if you don't want this sort of intricate design, but you could also follow that curve with your scissors and snip off that intricate design so it's just a semicircle as well if you wanted. Sorry, that goes up that way. So basically you'd have this panel and this piece would wrap around this panel and it completely hides the mechanism. If I hold that up a bit, you can see that design completely hides where the holes and the pull tab are, so the pull tab would just appear out the bottom and that whole mechanism would be hidden so that you can't see the little brads and see how it's moving. But then this design here, you can see it's got this sort of viney kind of design, which is why I've done the upside down one, but you also get this extra corner piece that like mimics that pattern. So the idea is that you could have this piece at the bottom of the panel and then put this piece at the top, and it sort of mimics or like continues on that kind of fancy sort of design. And you've also got the interior piece of that as well to cut that out. You also have different options for the bottom pieces here. You could just have that as a solid piece. You could just use this semicircle design in there as well, or you also have this sentiment that says "Time to Shine," and on the cards in my photo I've actually snipped this sentiment into different pieces and like put them on top of each other, or use the word time with the Will's Hand birthday die, so you've got birthday time, just to give you some other options and show you how you can mix and match it. Then this die also fits onto this piece, so if you just cut this intricate piece out, you could stick this one on top, and this one says "You make me smile," which is a really nice sentiment. Again, it's all fancy and it's got swirly designs inside it. Then, so that is all like the basic pieces to cover up the mechanism and to make the back panel look nice. And you also have these little corners. If you felt any areas looked a little bit plain, you can have these two little fancy corners, or there's also different sized of triangular corners as well. So this one, you would cut this panel first, this pattern first, and use the small triangle to go over the top of it, or this one has got the larger design inside the larger triangle, which could also be a corner. Then for the pull tab, to make that look more fancy and interesting, you have this one with a plain edge circle and a stripy design, or a scalloped edged circle and a sort of floral kind of design on there as well, which goes nicely with the lotus flower. It's actually part of the lotus flower, that one. Then flower-wise, you've got the kind of daisy sort of flower as one option, or you've got the lotus flower as another option. And then for the leaves, you need both of these leaves to actually make the design work, the outside ones, because they are a mirror image of each other, and you need both of them to get the mechanism to work, because you need them to be opposites of each other basically. But because you then have two of them, they've given you two different designs inside, so you can have this more actual, more realistic looking leaf, you know, with the vein pattern, or you can have a lovely swirly, flourishy, elegant kind of leaf design as well. So that's the basic die set. Then, as well as, oh, I've not put that back on, as well as the die set, there is also a stamp set, which I presume they'll be sold in a bundle, but you can just get the die set without the stamp set if you don't really like stamping that much. But these give you a few more sentiments, but also this one coordinates with this die. So if you wanted to change the look of the card that you're making, you can actually use that stamping in conjunction with that die, rather than having the die cut detail in the centre. You also have two stamps that will fit really nicely inside either of the circles, and if you look at them, you can see they've got a double-ended arrow, so it indicates to the recipient that it can go up and down to make the leaves sort of open and close. So that's really nice addition as well. Then you also have this sentiment here, which on the card that I've done, I just stamped that and then drew a scribbly border around it and cut it out. But if you want to bring in the sort of stamping element, that sentiment would fit right under that curve of that main design there, the main sort of fancy design. And you also get the Love Conquers All, which would also fit in that main design as well. And again, for my one, I just actually stamped it and trimmed it out. Then you also get 2 more sentiments. You've got You're Blooming Great, and then You're the Best as well. I've actually used, oh, this one says Belief in Yourself. I thought that was hilarious, that one. But yeah, you can use these, well, you could use these on any cards really. I mean, only these ones really make it match this interactive die set. All of these sentiments you could use in any of your other card projects, or even this one I think would look really nice on an art journal. And I love this kind of almost fleur-de-lis sort of design up there as well. So that is the stamp set that coordinates with this. And then I will show you, these are the 2 cards that I created before. So you can see here I actually made my own little flower pot, and then I have a cluster of 3 flowers behind that, and this one I did up the other way and used it so it's like a viney canopy. So that is them closed, and then opened you can see that cluster of 3 flowers, and you can see how this flower has dropped down and opened to reveal the lotus flower that's come down. And then here you can see how I used the birthday word die with that time just snipped off, and there I've used Time to Shine and snipped them all into 3 separate sentiments and put them on there as well. So I just wanted to show you those 2. And then the other ones that I actually have here to show you, I've got 2 that are using the actual mechanism, and then this one I just wanted to show how you can use that funky leaf design and just create a really modern looking card that's really simple to do. And you could even do this with obviously the other leaf, but you could even do this kind of thing with the lotus flower and with the daisy kind of flower. And on one of them I've actually used the triangles to sort of enhance the background and make it look a bit more modern as well. So that is just a really simple one, and using that belief in yourself, because I just really love that sentiment as the sentiment on that. So that's just a really simple one. And then I've done 2 of these. I'll show you this one first. So this one opens and closes like that, and you can see here that's not the well, it's not just the lotus flower and it's not the daisy either. I actually decided to use the semicircle that is supposed to decorate the piece that would go here, and I've just used the semicircle as sort of like the base of the flower, and then put the lotus flower behind and above to make it look like a completely different species of flower, which I thought was a cool idea. It gives you like a 3rd flower kind of look to it. I've used the swirly leaves on this one, and I've used the stripy little pull tab piece as well. And then I've actually just created my own banner here, rather than, I didn't want to use the fancy edged piece, so I thought I would just use a strip of card. So I cut that to, I think it was 55mm, so 5.5 centimetres, and then it's 9 centimetres for the width, and that's just how I created that piece. And then when you're sticking this piece on, you want to have completely opened the flower like this, and then just put a piece of foam tape either side, making sure it doesn't interfere with the petals or the middle mechanism, and then that will attach it to the card, and it won't interfere with the mechanism. Then for the background of this one and for the background on this piece, I used the You're the Best stamp and just stamped it a repeated pattern all over the background. Here it's blue onto white, here it's blue onto a light blue. And then to make it look more funky and modern for the background, I just took those triangles, I edged them with Athenian blue glitter marker. I just sort of drew around the edges of them, and then just added them as a random kind of design across the background, and also brought it right down to the bottom as well, because you kind of need more space at the bottom of the card than you might usually leave, if you know what I mean, because that pull tab needs to still have space on the card, otherwise it won't stand up. So that's how I've sort of extended the design down, but you don't have to. You can just leave that blank down there if you want to, like I have on the next card. But that's just one of the ones that I did. I really like how that one turned out. I probably should tell you actually the size of this panel. It's smaller than an A2 size that I would usually use. So it is 9 centimetres in width, or just over 3.5 inches, and then the length of it is just under 13 centimetres, and it's exactly 5 inches. So you can tell that's slightly smaller than an A2 kind of size card, but you will need to put this on a card that is bigger than A2. So these ones, I actually just created a top folding 5x7 card by using a big A3 piece of cardstock, and I did top folding because of the weight of this on the front. I thought top folding it would stand nicer, because sometimes with side folding, if you've got this much weight on the front, it sort of topples over. And then I just trimmed it. So, well, actually, I suppose it was basically an A5 top folding card, and then I just trimmed it so that it would be like a couple centimetres wider. So it was obviously 110 millimetres, so 11 centimetres. And then I just made it the sort of length so that when it was closed, this has still got a little bit of space down the bottom, but also when it's open, there's still a little bit of space before the flower hits the top as well. So that's how I got my sizing for the card. And this card is, if I measure this, it is 17.5 centimetres tall, or just under 7 inches tall, and then obviously 11 centimetres wide, and then that's just over 4.25 inches. So it's slightly wider than an A2 card or an A6 card, and then it's obviously longer as well, so that the mechanism works nicely, basically. So that is the sizing and stuff. And then the final one that I did, I wanted to use that Love Conquers All, so I wanted to make it more like of a lovey-dovey sort of card. So for the background, I used that Love Conquers All in a light pink colour, just to give some bit of interest. And then there'll be another up-close video up showing you the triple easel cards, and I actually used the hearts from that die set to inside create a shaker. So you can see here how that's a shaker, and then you've got the main focal heart as well. But because that's a shaker that's sort of set back, it's not interfering with the mechanism at all. So the little red and pink leaves can open nicely and nothing is interfering with them. Obviously you don't get the element popping up and down in the middle, it's just more of like a peekaboo and there's a shaker inside it, rather than the flower or whatever going up and down inside. But you could do this just with a heart instead of a flower, and you know, make the heart move up and down rather than having a shaker behind. Or equally, you can do that as a flower shaker. My original idea that I'd thought of was to do that as a flower shaped shaker, but then as I was using the triple easel cards as well, I was like, oh, and with the Love Conquers All, I was like, I'm going to have to do a heart for this. So that's why I did that one. And again, this card blank is exactly the same size as the other one, and I figured it out in the same way. I just realised that this one fitted nicely, so I just used that same size card again. But you could easily mat and layer this up if you want to make it look a bit more fancy, or if you like your 5x7 or A5, I think are going to be perfect sizes for this kind of card. You could even do it on an 8x8 card, but when you put something rectangular on an 8x8 card, sometimes it can look a little bit weird because, you know, it's not square sort of matching it. But you can just sort of, you can have this whole panel made and then experiment with what kind of size of card blank you want to put it onto as well. And actually, I think this would work brilliantly in your memory books. Because imagine having a little panel in there that you can like pull down, and it doesn't have to just be an image like a flower or a heart or something that pops up and down. It could be a photograph of somebody. You could have die cut a photograph or just trimmed it into a shape and stuck it on that tab. Or it could be some hidden journaling or something as well, if you're into your memory books and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this up close video and getting to see a few ways that I've used this die set and a few extra ideas of things that I didn't get around to doing. So if you have that owl die set and you give that a go, make sure to post your cards in the official Tonic Facebook group, because I'm sure everybody would love to see how that works as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!